So today I'm going to be talking about why it's much more important to have fewer, more engaged followers than thousands and thousands of followers, and why this strategy will massively help your social media results, lead to more business, leads to a much more engaged audience. So I'm Bex from Social Media Executive, and this live stream is brought to you by the Social Flock, which is a content support group that I run for businesses who are doing their social media in-house. So today we're going to be talking about social media followers. A lot of businesses, when I work with them, are like, right, Bex, can you train us how to increase our followers? We need thousands of followers, okay? So often, a lot of people believe that having thousands of followers is actually really beneficial to their social media. However, this is purely a vanity metric, okay? Having thousands of social media followers doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a lot of business. And actually having hundreds of thousands of social media followers can actually massively reduce the reach of your posts on social media. So what we need to be focusing on is a smaller number of followers. But there are a few areas that we need to address as well. So there are a few areas when you've got your smaller number of followers and how you want to grow with those smaller number of followers. So what exactly do I mean by that? Well, we are very tempted when we first start on social media to basically run competitions to grow our followers, saying, oh, please like this, share this, follow me to win XYZ. Or in some instances, people buy followers because, yes, you can buy followers because they think, crikey, no one's going to want to follow us. We've only got 300 followers. But actually what happens is that you buy these followers or you encourage people to follow you, and they're never, ever going to be interested in your content or going to respond or engage in your content. And engagement is absolutely vital when it comes to social media success. When you put a post on social media, if nobody engages with that post within a certain number of minutes, hours, depending which platform you're on, then that social media post won't go very far. So if you've got 10,000 followers on your social media, that post, when you write a post, may only go to about 2 to 5% of your followers. And if those 2 to 5% of your followers are either been bought and they're robots, so they're never going to respond to your content, or 2, they're just following you because they wanted to enter a competition, then they're absolutely of no value to you whatsoever. So those 10,000 followers that you have is just a vanity metric. If there's no engagement on your posts, nobody's seen your content. And actually, if you actually look at the reach of your content, it's likely to be very low. Okay. So what we need to be thinking about is growing an authentic followers who love us for who we are. So the most important things we need to think about is engagement. The first thing, that's the most important thing with your content. We are wanting people to engage with our content. The minute we get an engaged content, it means we can see who's liking our content. We can engage with them back. If they're leaving comments, you can respond to them. They then feel valued and they then want to follow more of your content because they feel valued in what you are providing. Okay, we're building up a relationship, and social media is all about building up those relationships that know, like, trust. That's why it's very, very difficult to outsource your social media to a third party, because they are actually, you're asking them to create content to engage with your audience. But you actually need to be engaging directly with your existing customers, your potential customers who are following you. And the minute you outsource it to someone who doesn't really know what your brand ethos is, you're losing that potential engagement, because we really want, our followers want to be engaging with the company they are following, not a third party. So by building stronger relationships, we can also become a little bit more authentic. Because if we are actually responding to our clients, it's us that's responding. We can answer their questions. We can engage with their accounts as well. We can see what they're doing. We can understand what they like. And therefore, we can provide more content. And by being more authentic, then we genuinely do get more engagement on our content, because people genuinely are beginning to that journey of know, like, and trust. And the minute we get more engaged audience that is much more authentic, that's when we start to see the sales, the business inquiries coming in. Because at the end of the day, people do business with people. Okay. So for us smaller companies who are trying to grow a brand, it's not necessarily the brand they're buying into, unless it's an absolutely amazing product you've got that absolutely they need. But more often than not, when we're starting out on our social media journey, people are actually wanting to know who the people are behind that business so that they can learn to know who they are, to trust them. And that's when you start to really build a social media following that is really structured to exactly what your business offers. Okay. Oh, hi Emma. Hello. Thanks for saying hello. Again, if you're watching this live, please do say hello, join the chat, ask any questions. So when you've got a smaller number of followers, what you tend to find is that you build a smaller, loyal community base. Okay. You end up with loyal followers. When I was working at Nomad Games, we had made some mistakes that I've mentioned. We were just going for mass followers rather than niche followers. Okay, we made video games, and we made them into digital board games. Basically, we took board games and made them digital. And I grew their followers from 400 to 20,000 in 3 years. But they weren't 20,000 random followers. They were 20,000 followers based on 35-year-old blokes that lived in America, that loved playing board games, that loved strategy games. Okay. So we built a really, really loyal following, to the point that they left us raving reviews. If you've got a loyal following, you're going to get really good reviews. They left us raving reviews. They queued up to buy our products, even if they weren't relevant products to that niche. They liked, knew and trusted us. They would buy all our products because they loved us as a brand. We shared who we were as a team. We were authentic in who we were. We gave shout outs to our customers who were active on social media to build them up. When you've got a gazillion followers, with some of the macro influencers, it's very difficult to maintain those relationships because you've got so many comments potentially coming in, so many followers trying to connect with you. So it's really important to, as a small account, social media account, you can actually build up fantastic relationships. So there was a survey done by Morning Consult, and they actually concluded that 88% of followers on social media said it was really, really important for their influencers to be authentic, to show who they were, to not just post out, buy me, we're selling this, we're selling that, but actually to be authentic and show who the people are behind the brand. Okay, so actually, if you are what we call a micro site, a micro influencer, and that's only between 1,000 to 5,000 followers. And actually, you can build up 1,000 to 5,000 followers quite quickly. Now, what do I mean by quite quickly? I don't mean in the next 3 weeks. I actually mean over 1, 2, 3 years. You can easily build up that following if you are really targeted, if you think about who you want to attract, if you are really niche, and you really think about targeting who you want to work with. Okay. The minute you become a macro follower, which is over 100,000, which a lot of people aim for, that's the minute you start diluting your message. You don't have time to respond to comments. Then all of a sudden your engagement will drop off. Okay. Basically, there was some statistics that said, my post-it notes here, it just fell off. But basically, there's a morning consult survey. No, that's not that one. Morning consult survey, obviously, say it's much more important to be authentic. But basically, Social Bakers did a survey and they identified that social micro-influencers had a 60% higher engagement rate compared to macro influencers, simply because they've got the relationship with their followers. So Emma's just said she totally agrees. She has fab followers for our business, no tones, but they are engaged. And she's also said, she said this to our brand photography clients all the time, letting our clients know who they are and showing them as the face of the brand. And this is so important. No longer is social media faceless. It's extremely competitive, social media these days. Your social media strategy should be year-long strategy, 3 years long strategy. This social media is a long-term strategy. It's not about a quick win. Okay, so if you're setting up on your social media and you're finding that you're not really growing as quickly as you would like, then actually think about a slow growth with the right people. And that can just start with 50 followers. But if you're regularly engaging with those 50 followers, you're building up a community, a loyal community brand. And that's what it's about. And over time, you can then build your followers. There's a lovely case study that I like. It's called For Love and Lemons. They're a clothing brand, and it was set up by two best friends in 2011. And for quite a long time, they only had between 1,000 and 5,000 followers. But now if you look at their account, now in 2023, they have 3.5 million followers on their Instagram because they've grown it slowly. And they've been genuine and authentic to the brand, and they've really understood their customers. So if you're wanting to build a good, strong social media following, it's about a long-term commitment and not quick wins to win a lot of followers. Okay, so it always starts with a small but engaged few. This is one of the things we teach with the social flock. So the social flock is there to help you create compelling and consistent content, because you've got to be consistent on social media. So we work in the group with customers and clients and businesses to help them create this content, this authentic content that's going to talk to their customers, that is built over time to grow their followers over time. So again, if you want to be part of our group, it is a 12-month commitment because, funnily enough, social media takes time. You know, it's a long-term process, but basically it's only £45 a month. And every week we have accountability sessions. So every Monday we come together and write our social media content. And then we have lots of training and webinars throughout the month. And we all really help each other to be consistent, because Emma's just said consistency is a battle for me. It is for everyone, Emma. You know, it really is a battle for everyone, and that's why the social flock has come together, because we all are accountable to each other, and it really does help. And it's only £45 a month to join. So if you're interested, I will put a link in the comments here. Really, you know, have a think about it. Social media is a long-term strategy. It's not about short-term wins. And we'd love to welcome you to the group. And we all work together to help each other to be consistent and give you lots and lots of support. So if you are interested, there's the link. We'd love to help you join the group. And thanks for watching, everyone, today. Next week, I've got the fabulous Catherine Sandland, who's joining us. She's a speaker coach, and she's going to be talking to us about how we get across our messages on social media to help connect and be authentic to our audience. So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks, Emma, for all the engagement today, and we'll see you next week live at 12:30. Thanks, everyone. Bye.